There's always at least one player every year that generates significant buzz in the days leading up to the draft and then gets picked higher than many originally projected. In 2020, for example, there was a lot of talk around Patrick Williams, who ended up getting picked 4th overall by the Bulls. In 2021, I'd say there was building intrigue about both Josh Giddey and Franz Wagner. Giddey went 6th to the Thunder, and Franz went 8th to the Magic. In 2022, the big riser was Jalen Williams, who ended up getting selected 12th by the Thunder. And last year, Bilal Coulibaly flew up mock draft boards and was ultimately chosen 7th by the Pacers, who then traded his draft rights to the Wizards. This year, that player was Tidjane Salaun, selected 6th overall by the Charlotte Hornets. Very few mock drafts in the spring had him slotted in the lottery portion of the draft, let alone in the top 6. So what stood out from his 3 games in Las Vegas at Summer League? I think the number one thing was his motor and hustle. He plays with boundless energy and loves to play at a fast pace. Several times after grabbing a defensive rebound or gathering a loose ball, he just accelerated up the floor with the ball in his hands. It'll be interesting to see what Charlotte's pace of play is under new head coach Charles Lee. When LaMelo Ball plays, which was infrequent the last 2 seasons because of injuries, they're much more dangerous playing up-tempo, which would suit Salaun well. Back in 2021-22, under then head coach James Borrego, they played at the 5th fastest pace. Last season under Steve Clifford, they were 22nd. Several of his shot attempts at Summer League came in transition, as he looked very comfortable racing up the floor with or without the ball. The Hornets were 25th in fast break points in 2023-24. Much of the talk about him pre-draft was his perimeter shooting. That did not translate at Summer League, as he went 1 for 10 from three-point range. Obviously, the sample size is too small to pass any judgment on him as a shooter, but clearly he has no problem letting shots fly from long distance. The only real concerning part was that some of his misses were way off, as you can see from these clips. But there was some variety. We see some standstill catch and shoot, dribble handoff action, and pull-ups following the shot fake. Here was his one make. You can see his defender drop down to the roll man, and the roll man's initial defender gets caught out of position, which allows Salaun to get the open look off the swing. He does not seem to have the tightest handles. Here he's pretty loose with it, resulting in the turnover. It's hard to say right now how much shot creation will be in his arsenal. I expect him early on to serve as a kick-out option when LaMelo Ball attacks, play in a lot of dribble handoff action with Charlotte's bigs, and be one of their transition racers, preventing opponents from setting their half-court defense. I don't see much playmaking in his game. I'm curious to see if he can develop a reliable floater. Talk going into the draft was that he didn't have much of an in-between game, but if he can get comfortable with his floater, that will open things up for him. He was 3 of 6 on floaters in Summer League. 2 of his makes came with the contact, so clearly there's some strength there to take some physicality and still connect. I think the main reason he ended up getting drafted so high was because he has a real chance to be a high-quality defender. He's got the right mix of stuff. He hustles, he's long with a 7-foot wingspan, he moves his feet laterally pretty well, he can stay with a handler up the floor, he's got good instincts. Now, he didn't record any steals in Summer League, but to my count, he had 6 deflections. Last year, the Hornets had the 2nd worst defensive rating in the league. Only the Utah Jazz were worse. Here you see his hustle on full display. After contesting the three-point shot, he gets back into the play and just chases down everyone who has the ball. If he can develop a consistent outside jumper, I can see his offensive play style being very similar to Michael Porter Jr., who thrives as a shooter off dribble handoffs at a similar size. Now with the Spurs, but Harrison Barnes was heavily used in that function with the Kings the last few seasons. I see a little bit of Kelly Oubre Jr. in Salaun as well. Without a doubt though, Salaun has a way higher defensive ceiling than all three of them. In his 3 Summer League games, he averaged 9.0 points, 7.0 rebounds, and 0.3 assists, shooting 42.3% overall from the field, 10% from three-point distance, and 50% from the free throw line. So that'll wrap up this video. If you like this kind of content, please subscribe.